My name is Josie Hart, and I'm the Farm Program Manager here at Chatfield Farms with Denver Botanic Gardens. So in 2010, Chatfield started a CSA, and in 2011, the year after it started, I came out and really just wanted to be at that connection of people learning about their food and the food helping the environment and the environment helping the food. And so that's really how I got going and why I'm here. But the Veterans to Farmers program started 7 years ago, and it's a partnership with Veterans to Farmers, which is a nonprofit organization in Denver, and Denver Botanic Gardens. We formed that partnership 7 years ago and started our first program 6 years ago. And we really wanted to do a few different things. We wanted to have veterans be able to be together and have a mission, be in community with one another, and I think we were all becoming aware of like veteran statistics of suicide and isolation, and just how sad that is, that they have this amazing service that they're a part of, and then they come back to kind of transitioning into their day-to-day lives and feel very, very lonely. So we wanted veterans to be able to be in community together, growing food, learning about farming. And that was kind of the main goal when we first started out. And I think in the journey of offering the program, we've learned so many more things about what it is to farm. So the program in a lot of ways has been this really amazing teacher to all of us about what farming is. Maybe we had an idea as farmers of, what importance this is to our lives, but really the veterans have taught us that it really is more about being in nature and having kind of nature be the connector for all of us, to not only provide us with kind of a peaceful way of going about our work, but also just that nurturance. I mean, we feel really connected and nurtured when we're outside all day. And so beyond what the veterans do at the end of the program, if they go on to own their own farm or work on a big 10-acre farm, or maybe just grow a couple of crops in their own backyard, I think more they're immersing themselves in this beautiful ecosystem, and they're learning about everything from the bugs to birds to what's inside the soil when you really take a look at it, to really the kind of intelligence of plants that I think we all really underplay. Like animals are intelligent, we can see their behaviors, but plants have this amazing intelligence that it's really interesting to see veterans especially learning about, and defense mechanisms or evolution, and why plants have these certain qualities to them. So that's really, I think now, even more than kind of strict education of this is what it is to run a small farm business, it's more about this is what it is to be in community, and this is what it is to let yourself be healed by nature. Everyone is really coming from this very, very different place. The military is so vast, and there's so many different ways for people to serve and be a part of it. But the thing that unites people is that they are looking for that community. They're looking for that service and for that kind of call to action still in their lives. They miss being a part of that. So the Veterans Program started out with 2 groups for the summer of about 10 veterans each. We would run the program hands-on, immersed in agriculture, and they were on the farm 2 to 3 days a week. And they do everything from seeding and transplanting and building beds and working the soil to harvesting and helping to sell the produce at our markets or at our CSA. And then also like a full suite of business classes that we offer. So a lot of our veterans are interested in being their own boss and kind of just being self-sustained on their own little plot of land. They want to grow their own food. They want to grow their own skincare products. They want to raise their own animals. Really to just be self-sufficient. And so I think farming speaks to that naturally. But then I think when they get out onto a farm this large and they get to see all of the different things going on, their eyes are opened, and a lot of people have begun brand new business ventures out of that. And one of our big components to the Veterans Program is nutrition and cooking and self-care. So, we start off the program by talking about how do we take care of ourselves. And it's not, we don't want to kind of sterilize cooking and food relationships. You know, we don't want to say like, oh, don't eat that, that has too much fat in it, and you should like use this really healthy recipe, it's really good, and it's really not that good, or whatever. But we want really to talk about self-care and just, you know, cooking from scratch and using whole ingredients, and what does that taste like when you're eating a chicken that you just collected out of your backyard, and what color is the yolk, and kind of falling in love with making your own dishes and your own food. And so we have a lot of chefs come out that cook, you know, from scratch, and farm to table chefs, and just kind of demonstrate really easy things like, you know, harvesting all of the winter squash and chopping it up and freezing it in portions, and then it's so easy just to kind of pull that out and cook over the entire winter with that type of stuff. Other self-care too, like what kinds of herbs and medicinal plants are good for my health. We're trying to integrate all of it together. You know, it's not just learning how to farm and learning how to grow carrots, but it's also about what we eat and how we take care of ourselves and how we cook, and how we are together in community, how we cook for each other. And, you know, we make 3 batches of zucchini bread and bring it to the farm and we all share it, and those kinds of things. So this group has really embraced all of that. They're amazing cooks. They're also amazing grant writers. We've had a few of the more like business-oriented vets help us just submit a USDA grant. You know, they just volunteered, showed up in my office, and we started talking about programming and budgets. And so we've kind of separated the 2 areas. We now do a 20-week program of just farming, cooking, you know, self-care, all of those things that kind of happen outside. And then in the winter, we do the business planning. So we sit down and form a business plan, and they work all the way through the business plan in the small kind of business planning areas until they get to the end of the winter program, and then they present their business plan to a panel. And it, you know, not only is it peers, but it's also people from all aspects of small business, you know, not necessarily just for farming and finance. And then they give their input. So I think it works well to kind of do the business stuff in the winter when you want to be inside anyway, and then just really embrace the full growing season outside when you can. So that's kind of how we've adjusted the program. And so each veteran is now here for 20 weeks in the summer, and then about 6 to 8 weeks in the winter. So it's quite an extensive program. From day one, we agreed that we always were going to pay stipends. You have to pay people for their time. So it's been really more of a journey for people where they do feel supported, and they've kind of maybe tried a lot of different things. You know, vegetable farming's not for me, but I really love chickens and I'm going to raise chickens. And you're not having to really like have those immediate results. You can kind of take your time through the journey, which is nice. Right now we have 9 participants, and we have 1 full-time education coordinator. And then Veterans to Farmers has 1 full-time manager, executive director. He's kind of a jack of all trades for that organization. And that is probably all we're going to do. So we really like the small scale, intimate experience. We really like people being able to get to know each other, being able to get to know the farmers. And also it's really hard to incorporate large groups into like actual farming. Like you can have them out and they can have a weeding day, but if you're allowing them to harvest and to be in and around the crops like in that kind of close way that it takes to actually work on them, it needs to be a smaller group of people. And so we kind of decided, yeah, maybe that might ruin our chances for certain types of grant funding or whatever if you don't have those huge numbers. But the quality of experience that we're allowing people by having a small little group like that for all summer long is really like what we're after. So yeah, we'll do one every year, but we're not going to really make it bigger. We won't allow the general public to be a part of the veterans program because I feel like veterans, when they're talking about their experience, they need to be heard by other veterans. Having that group of people that you can say anything to and address anything and feel open with all of the time, like that's a really, really important like key component to it. And so we would love to do a similar program for other people that aren't veterans, but still keep the veterans program just veterans and very small and intimate. But hopefully we can grow the program in other ways, like other educational opportunities.
This was really great.
This was so great.
You gave us so much good material. I'm honestly thinking that like
there's a lot of different kind of threads through people's lives. That's in the background. That's one of our pigs. That's Theo. He probably has to go inside right now and doesn't like doing that. Anyway.